Hi, my name is Claudia Bazán and today I'll introduce you to Hadara. It is a game for 2 to 5 players with a duration of 60 minutes by designer Benjamin Schur and published by Hans Im Gluck. In this game, players will try to recruit people from different ethnicities and historical periods so that this group of people will become a successful civilization. For this, players will take cards from the board that allows them to increase different resources such as military power, culture, and wealth. Let's see how we play it. To begin with, we assemble this board that has 5 different colors where we'll place the cards of the 3 epochs. Each epoch acts as one round in the game, and each of these is divided into 2 phases. It is worth mentioning that the game comes with aids that illustrate very well each step of the phases A and B of each epoch. Then we'll take the cards of the first epoch and shuffle them to form 5 decks and put them each in the color indicated. On the other hand, each player will take a board with a distinctive creature, get the resource markers, a setup card, 8 bonus tiles, and 2 gold medals. This setup card indicates who will be the starting player in each epoch and our initial resources and coins. After preparing our board, the starting player turns the wheel and positions it in the space of their choice. Note that each of these animals is on the player boards, so each player will start by drawing from the deck that matches their creature. The first part of phase A of a round is to draw 2 cards of the color assigned to us. After that, we keep one and leave the other in the space. With the card we want to keep, we can do 2 things. Pay its cost and keep the resources and/or victory points indicated, or sell it for the cost indicated on the back. This card leaves the game, and beware it must not be placed in the space for discarded cards. This is done 5 times, in which we'll draw from each of the 5 decks of cards. Thus, we'll have some cards under our playing board, and we'll have already advancing some of our tracks. After this, we move on to a phase of receiving income, where each player receives an amount of coins equal to what their income marker, the yellow one, indicates. Once these coins are received, we will check our military power indicator, the red one, which will tell us if we can occupy a colony. This means that the player draws one of the tiles that are here, see if their military power matches or exceeds the number indicated in the lower left corner, and proceeds to take it. After this, we can do 2 things. Plunder it, which means receiving the coins indicated here and the victory points indicated here, or integrate it, where we have to paint the coins indicated in red to then turn this tile over and gain the resources and/or victory points indicated. Then we move on to the stage of building statues. In this area of the player board, we'll be able to build these 4 statues during the game. To build them, we must check our culture indicator, and if we have a value equal to or greater than what the first statue states, we'll be able to build it. To do so, we must take one of our bonus tiles and put it in the slot. This will give us an amount of resources indicated in this area. Also, on the reverse side, all the tiles have the symbol of victory points, so if we want to, we can put it on this side and earn that amount of victory points at the end of the game. Now we'll move to the phase B of the round. Starting with the initial player of the round, they will have the option to keep or sell the top card of any of the 5 available decks, paying its cost in coins or receiving the amount of coins corresponding to the time in which it is played. Then the players continue to keep or sell the cards until there are none left on the board. After this, we'll have a larger civilization and a greater amount of resources. In this case, we want to build a yellow card for 3 points, but because we have 2 cards of the same color, an amount equal to this will be subtracted in price. So it will only cost 1 coin. Now, when we exceed the 10 resources in each marker, we can put one of these tiles to symbolize that we have the amount of resources indicated in each of these plus those of the marker. Thus we move on to the next 3 stages, which are the same stages played in Phase A: receiving income, occupying a colony, and sculpting statues. Now we'll see a stage that is not in the Phase A of the round, feeding your people. In this stage, the players must check that they have the amount of resources corresponding to the number of people in their civilization. If this number is equal or exceeded, everything is fine. But if on the other hand there is not enough food, the player must get rid of a number of cards so that now there is enough food to feed their population. In this process also, the resources of the discarded cards are lost. In this case, the person will lose one of their cards because their amount of food resources is less by 1 unit than his marker indicates. After this, there is a final stage of Phase B, where players can choose to buy gold or silver medals that will add up to many points at the end of the game. The silver medal consists in playing a bonus tile of the color of your choice to receive half the points corresponding to the amount of resources you have at the end of the game. The golden medal means that the player will receive 7 points for each row of cards of 5 different colors that the player has. Here the player will buy a gold medal, paying what is indicated in the A sheet, paying 6 coins for it. After the end of this phase, the initial player is changed and epochs 2 and 3 of the game are restarted. Once the third epoch is over, the points awarded for the occupied colonies, the statues built, the silver and gold medals purchased, the cards acquired, and the money left over are counted. This is done using the score sheets provided by the game, and the player with the most victory points at the end of the game is the winner. Well, that's the game explanation, and now I'll tell you a bit of what I think about this game. Hadara is a very interesting game. It requires the players to calculate constantly their resources and their next moves. So if you're thinking it's a light game, it's not so much if you want to optimize at the maximum your turns. In terms of aesthetics, I mean the components, the cards, the boards, and the markers are of a very good quality. And also the wheel is a very interesting component for people who play it for the first time. They are always amazed by that. In addition, the mechanics of card drafting and the subsequent steps are very fast and dynamic, so it is a game that develops in a very straightforward way without so many pauses in between turns. In terms of card drafting, a quite original and challenging dynamic is introduced in Phase B, having to choose between all of the 5 cards that are available to you and knowing that all the other players will come afterwards and you have to choose only one. It is a game with a decent amount of tactics and strategy because you have to balance all the time your money, resources, and cards. But because of that, there can be some frustration in the process because you will have to constantly sacrifice some aspects to enhance others. Also, it has happened that with my group of friends, some of them have found a very favorable strategy that they carry out every time we play it. So for that reason, if you're playing with the same group of friends, it can feel that you're playing the same game that you played last time. This has led me to think that this is not a game with a very high level of replayability, because we have found that there are 2 main possible strategies to follow in order to win. That is, go full wealth or boost up strongly the military power and the culture. If you like drafting games that involve a high level of mental processing, this game may be for you. With mechanics that don't feel quite frequently used and pretty good components, this game manages to charm every player who enjoys intermediate weight games. However, the poor replay value and the feeling that you're doing the same thing over and over again can be a setback. So for that reason, I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10, meaning that's a seal of approval from me. Thanks for watching. I'm Claudia Bazán, and I'll see you in another round.